Righto, one for the haters. Is the 79 series almost a collector's item? Signs are it could be. Look, this could be a bit of a stretch, but I'm starting to think that the 79 series could end up the next really collectible car. It could be worth buying one and just sticking in your shed, if you can find one, and if you can afford one, that is. Righto, what got me thinking about this was there's an article in drive.com that I think will scare a lot of people, me included to some degree. Look, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. But it is big news as far as Toyota goes. They've been talking about replacing the 79 series, or killing it off rather. There's been speculation for the last 10 years. You always have those stories of people going to the car yard. Well, the dealer said next year there'll be the V6, or next year there won't be the 70 series, and there's always been so much speculation. I think that's been some dodgy sales tactics from really slimy salespeople in the past, because none of that has ever been substantiated, and it definitely hasn't happened. They're still happily taking orders for 79 series. However, this article in drive.com is starting to suggest that that could be towards the end of the life, the V8, hopefully not the 70 series. The title of the article reads, Toyota Land Cruiser 70 series could swap V8 for 4-cylinder power. Could swap V8 for 4-cylinder power. Now, just that one sentence alone will have people reeling. I couldn't believe it either. I think out of all the engines they could put in it, you would think if they said 4-cylinder power, that's going to be a Hilux motor. Who's going to buy a 79 series with a Hilux motor? You just buy a Hilux, wouldn't you? More comfortable, more tech, lighter, cheaper, with the same power, and probably if they've got the same motor in them, it should be the same GCM, you would hope to think too. That would make sense, wouldn't it? But, I could be wrong. So they go on to say, Japanese media has reported the Toyota Land Cruiser 70 series, which is already 38 years old, yes, could solder on, but with 4-cylinder instead of V8 power. I just don't think people will cop that. Toyota Australia stopped taking orders for the Toyota Land Cruiser 70 series last year until it could get through the current backlog, which is expected to include close to 20,000 customers. Now, that's a lot of orders for a car that barely has air conditioning and cruise control, isn't it? And that's just for the haters out there. So they are very popular, no matter how much you do hate them. Toyota has already axed the V8 in the Land Cruiser 300 series, as we know, amid a switch to twin-turbo V6 power. And we're yet to see whether, in years to come, people, when they go searching for that year sort of range Land Cruiser, whether you'd pick a 200 or a 300 series. Look, the VDJ did prove itself. Yes, it had a few issues, but generally speaking, it's quite a reliable and powerful motor. I would say arguably the 200 series is probably a better looking vehicle as well. I mean, that's subjective. But I think it'll be interesting to see down the track when you go looking for an older Land Cruiser, when I'm talking that they're 15, 20 years old. People might look for that V8 power, I think. It was a really good motor. The V6 in design is, the VDJ is quite a complicated design with where the starter motor is. And as far as working on it goes, it's not the most friendly engine to work on. You would hazard a guess to say that the V6 may be worse. I'm not a mechanic here, guys. If there's mechanics on there, please comment. What would you prefer to work on, the VDJ or the new V6? Knowing that that new V6 is a hot V, which means both turbos are in the valley under that little pretty plastic cover. It just seemed like it would be such a cramped package to try and fit all that in there. So, what I'm trying to say is, down the track, if they do put a 4-cylinder motor in a 79 series, and you are on the second-hand market or looking for a tidy old, Land Cruiser as, something to modify, like, maybe in 40 years time there'll be like Lanciers now, you're like, oh yeah, I want to do one up. I don't think people are going to pick the 4-cylinder, really. Like, you're going to want the V8. It's cool, like, it's cooler, like. So I think as far as a collectible item goes, we could see prices of the 79 series with the V8 hold for quite a long time and then possibly grow after 10 or 15 years. That's just my prediction. Look, I could be wrong. We could all run out of diesel in 10 years' time and we're all driving electric vehicles, and everyone with a petrol or diesel vehicle will just be worth nothing because you can't get it anymore. Like, that's a bit doom and gloom, but hey, you never know. So they go on to say, when asked if it was possible some customers who are already in the queue could miss out on a V8 version of the Toyota Land Cruiser 70 Series, Mr. Henley said, "We are trying to fulfill those orders as best we can." So imagine turning up to pick up your 79 Series and you open the bonnet and there's just vast space of air and you can see the ground because there's this puny little 4-cylinder turbo diesel in there. There were people that would, I don't know, probably yell, scream, abuse, and like people aren't going to be happy with that, especially if they had ordered a Land Cruiser 79 Series with a V8 in it. And you turn up at the dealer and all of a sudden you got a 4-cylinder. I mean, the chances of that happening, the fact you turn up, would be dire, I'd say. You would find out before how many people are going to cancel their order, how many people are going to look on the second-hand market, which will just drive prices to the moon initially. Very common thing for them to be 120 grand at the moment with 2 kilometers on them. The dealer's buying them back off the customer, putting a kilometer on them. You read Facebook, that is the going price for something that is sitting in the yard with a kilometer on it is 120 grand, which is just ridiculous when you think about it. 18 months ago, you could drive one away for 76 grand with a tray. So it's sort of started to happen now, and that article is just going to drive that nail in further. I really, truly believe that. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I think this is what's going to happen. So they also go on to say, when asked if the Toyota Land Cruiser 70 Series was here to stay, regardless of what engine was under the bonnet, Mr. Henley said there's no departure in our product plans for 70 Series. So they would be mad to get rid of it if they can sell them with a cheaper to produce, more economical, less emissions engine under the bonnet. The mines are still going to buy them. The public will still buy them to some degree, I think. They are that loved. So hats off to whoever wrote this article, because they really did drill down and try and get a definitive answer of what engine is going under the bonnet. They go on to say, when asked if at some point the Toyota Land Cruiser 70 Series would switch to a different engine, Mr. Henley said maybe in the generation of any car we change engines, that can happen. I don't want to fuel speculation. I just know we've got to bring a product to market that suits this market, that's fit for purpose. I can still remember, if you go way back in time, when Toyota bought this 4-cylinder front-wheel drive to market, a Toyota Camry sedan to compete with the Ford Falcon and Holden Commodore. Everyone said, ooh, that won't work. We're a 6-cylinder rear-wheel drive country and everyone loves it. Look, that's a bloody good point. Where's the Commodore? Where's the Falcon? The Camry's still here. That is, when that really puts it into context, maybe they are doing the right thing. Maybe they are keeping it relevant, keeping it economical, moving with the times. That is a pretty strong statement from Toyota, comparing the 79 Series to the Camry. When the Camry was initially up against the Falcons and the Commodores that, you know, had V8 power and then later Turbo 6 power, they were never thought to be a cool car. But as far as a business proposition goes, they were the best out of the lot because they're still here and they sell like hotcakes. So Toyota, maybe they're a lot smarter than what we know. I'm sure they're a lot smarter than me. I just think as far as a collectible, the V8 VDJ 79 Series could be the next big one. Anyway, don't forget, guys, you only live once. Maybe go and buy a 79 Series. You might be sitting on a gold mine.